So Real Madrid, who am I kidding? Real Madrid needs no introduction. Now CD Lugo on the other hand, they are a team which have been playing their football in the second and third division of Spanish football. But the reason why I brought Real Madrid up is because they are one of the most, if not the most, successful Spanish club, not just in Spain but in Europe as well. So shout out to the comment section for this one, as you guys wanted to see longer saves. So here it is. Today we are taking the team known as CD Lugo and making them as successful as Real Madrid. And in case if you were asking why did I choose this team, it's because of these unique kids. I mean, they might not be my favorite kids, but they are something. And you know what? Let me know in the comment section what do you think of these kids. Also, just note, this is not their like official football kids. These are kids that they have as a special edition. So in this save, I will be trying to match the number of Champions League won by Real Madrid within this save. I guess in other words, what I'm trying to say is, so in this save, it also depends on how many Champions League Real Madrid actually wins, and I guess how much the game likes Real Madrid. So with that said, with all that out the way, let's take a look at the squad and let's take a look at the side that we will be starting with at CD Lugo. So this is the side that I got to start with, CD Lugo. I'm not going to lie, there doesn't look to be anyone that great, at least from the squad list here. You can take a screenshot if you want to, but yeah, I don't see myself using any of these players in like season 5, for example. Most likely what will happen in season number 1, I'll use these players, see which one I like and keep them, for those that I feel they are not going to add any value or not even going to, not even going to come in as like a backup. I'll probably just sell them. So yeah, I think first season is just getting to know the club, getting to know which players to keep and all that. Okay, we are already doing business in season number 1 in just a few days. I've looked at the striker. We may only use one striker in our formation. Both of the strikers that we have in the team are boomers. Okay, I know what someone's gonna say. Alright, I'll show you the squad. If you look at the bottom here, they're 29, 35. I know they're not boomer, in reality, but in football manager terms, they are boomers.
Okay, boomer.
So that's why I brought someone younger in here on a free transfer, although we need to pay 13.25. But overall, Santi Migueles comes in here on a free transfer as a younger, maybe backup striker. Welcome to the team. And we are not done there. We actually bring in another player here. He's a center back. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. I'm sorry, okay? But San Marti, he's coming in here. It says center back, and well, he can play at the center back if you look at his stats. But I'm more bringing him in to play at the DM spot because we don't have that much backup there. So we bring him in as a DM on a free transfer. Welcome to the team. Oh, look at me, guys. I'm making another transfer. I just went back on my word. Okay, there is a good reason though. In a way, I was forced by my team to make a transfer at right back, okay? That is my reasoning. Okay, so Joan Anania comes in here. I really don't know if this guy is good or not. I just brought him in because he looks decent, at least for the quality of the squad right now. And he's been brought in for about 73,000, which I think is a good amount. Hopefully he can grow. And also you might see the Barcelona badge here, but this is not this Barcelona, not the Barcelona we know. He's from Barcelona Athletic, which I think is like the youth team. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. Okay, apparently the team wasn't too happy with me just bringing a 19-year-old right back from Barcelona. Not that one. But so I had to go and find another right back, Xavi Alonso. Not sounds similar, but not that Alonso. he can play center back, so price cover at the center back, and that's the only reason why I bought him. And he's the only right back that I can get for free that plays in another position. So Javi Alonso, welcome to the team, but unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I didn't really want you anyway. By the way, as well, I know like at the start of the season I said that I'm trying not to sell anyone, but we have exceeded our outfield limit player capacity for registration thingy. That probably hopefully made sense. So we need to sell some players, and Pablo Rubal is the first to go. I mean, he doesn't look all that great, to be honest, and we have players at that attacking left mid spot that can replace him. So really, I mean, he's going for 3.4 thousand, which doesn't sound like a lot. And to be honest, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say you're gonna be missed because I didn't even know you in the first place. Okay,
feisty one you are.
We got another departure from the club, although this is one that I didn't want to let go because this guy Nicolas Raniero, he is good for our standard, for our club in our position. He is a star. I mean, look at the value. Unfortunately, the issue is he didn't want to sign a new contract, and we didn't have the funds to afford his wage. Therefore, we needed to let him go, and he's joining River Plate at the start of the year on a pre-contract, which means no money involved. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whose fault it is, but I you know what, my hands are okay. It is now middle of season number 1, and I've decided to bring a few players in for next season to strengthen the team a little bit for next season. First guy in is this guy called Ratu. He's a center back by default, although his profile says fullback. Whatever, good defense option, coming in for free. Next up is a young winger, Alvaro Leiva, coming in from Real Madrid Castilla, I believe. So yeah, he's coming in next season for free as well. The third guy that will be coming in next season is Adri Lopez. He's a goalkeeper, which I'm hoping to be our main starting keeper from next season forward, or at least a backup. So he will of course be coming in on a free. Another person that will be coming in next season is David Navarro, who will be providing some cover at the center back spot, potentially being a good center back option for starting in the team as well. Coming in of course for free. And probably you can tell what I'm trying to do here for next season. I'm trying to, you know, do a little bit of a squad reset and a bit, you know, doing a little bit of a refresh of the team in a lot of different positions, because I feel like the team could really use some good young fresh talent in a lot of its positions. However, one player that won't be here next season is Usama. He has been let go on a free transfer to Barcelona. We are absolutely buzzing in the first season here. Usually I don't even make this amount of transfers in and transfer out combined this, you know, but yeah, we are having a big window here in the first season. Unfortunately, this is one player that I don't want to let go, similar to the Argentinian striker before, who shall not be named because you know, how dare you. But anyway, Victor Prostrana, I wanted to keep him at the club. However, he doesn't want to stay. Yeah, he doesn't want to sign a new contract. So I decided to let him go now, so that at least we can get some money for him. Although 500k for him, at least looking at his stats, seems a little bit too little, but I'll take whatever money I can get, I guess. And we are also bringing in another striker in that position, Javi Cueto. I'm not gonna lie, he's a very last minute signing. This guy, I think he could be anything, but let's see when he comes into the club in season number 2. We of course got him on a free as well. I'm still not done with the transfers, by the way, in case anyone's asking. I'm still making transfers. Another one here from Barcelona Athletic here. Trilly, another fullback coming in here on the right as well. I don't know what's like my link with Barcelona right backs and bringing them into the club. This is a green link probably. Anyways, Trilly's coming in here as another right back on a free transfer at the start of season number 2. There are a lot of young players coming in here. I'll have to see next season what I do with this squad, because I have no idea as of right now. Like, I'm just bringing these players in, but I've like not considered the team as a whole. So you know, classic manager planning for me, of course. I promise this is the last transfer we'll make this January transfer window here. Holy hell, I've just realized I don't think I've seen a January transfer window this happening, unless you consider Chelsea, of course. Anyways, Alex Barbu, 23 years of age, coming in as another defensive option here. We brought in a lot of defensive players here. He's coming in, of course, on a free as well. Just as a glance of all the players that I've signed in this first season January transfer window, I brought in 6 players. No, actually 7. I lied. I can count. Okay, don't test me. Okay, we brought in 7 players for free in the January transfer window. If even half of them are great, are able to help out with the squad, or can be sold for a lot of money, that is, you know, that is already great. That is done what I needed to do for this transfer window. I think that's all for this transfer window. Okay, here we are again. I know I said I wasn't gonna sign anyone, but I can't help myself. I'm building the Temu version of Chelsea here, Espanol Chelsea, whatever you want to call it. We're bringing another player for next season, and Nico Aguilar. I believe he just turned 25, so which is a little bit annoying, but he looks so good, at least for a team of our caliber. He can play an odd position of DM and left back, or even center back if we really need it. I mainly bought him for that DM spot because we don't have a good DM and we don't have good cover there as well. So he comes in on a free transfer for next season, of course. And at the same time, I also went in for the services of another player, Ismail Gutierrez, who is a midfielder. He can play DM midfielder, so he can provide good cover at both spots. Hopefully he can come in and be a starting player for us. He also comes in on a free. So we've literally brought in, that brings our total to, I believe, 9 players. 9 players on the free transfer coming in all next season. We're literally revamping almost like the whole squad if you think about it. Like 9 out of 11 players. Holy. But yeah, we'll see if my transfer strategy pays off next season or not. That is provided that I don't bring in any more from now till the end of season number 1. I probably won't, but then I said that the last time and we all know what happened. Okay, relax everyone. It's a transfer out the club. I'm not bringing in another player. We are letting Pablo Cacharon here leave. He's a backup goalkeeper. He'll be leaving from the club for only $6,000. Okay, it's a transfer out. I'm not bringing in another player. Thank God for that. Okay, season number 1 is done. No, this is not a transfer. This is not a troll. Season 1 is actually done. Before we take a look at the results in the league, let's quickly look at the Copa del Rey, where I'm not gonna lie, we went out in the first round. In fact, that was the first game we had, and we went out losing to Almeria. What was more important was the league. My goodness, Google, help me out here. How do you say that?
Primera Federación Grupo 1.
Thank you very much, Google. Yeah, we won the league. And we topped the league, just barely, but we topped the league. Now, you might have noticed at the top that the league title has like Group 1 in it. That's because like the Primera Federación. Yeah, so that league actually has 2 groups. So we actually had a playoff, and in the playoff final, it was a 2-leg final, and it was a high-scoring one. We defeated Ibiza 6-5. Ibiza topped the second group of the league. There's a reason why I brought all those signings in. Now you know why. This is what, to get ourselves ready in a position to avoid relegation for next season. That's all I want to do for season number 2, avoid relegation. And before we leave season number 1 for season number 2, usually I would highlight some players at the club that I would say have done some good performances, but there are not many overall that I would like to highlight. The only people that I like to highlight are maybe the keeper Marcos Laben here, who did a somewhat decent job across the whole season. and maybe one of my signings that I make, so my signings actually have purpose. I know what I'm doing. This is my proof. Juan Ananio, who I brought in from Barcelona Athletic last season, or so at the start of the season on a free, he's up in value to 130k max. So, maybe there's some method to my madness after all. I mean, I know, but you guys might be like, you crazy? But I'm gonna show you I'm not crazy. I know what I'm doing. So yeah, and maybe a small shout to the strikers as well. Migueles, who I also brought in, but he did okay, but not too great. We'll see how we do next season to maybe evaluate his performance. But I also like to give a shout out to Willie. Yes, Willie. I can't believe what this club is doing to me, making me give a shout out to Willie, not for Willie, okay? Alba as well has been doing pretty decent. I've been seeing him get a lot of man of the match performances, and he's wanted by Las Palmas, who are in the division above us. So another good player here. So those are some of the key standouts. Now let's roll on to season number 2. Also, before we move on to season number 2, here is a quick sort of recap of season number 1. We won the league and the playoff. I don't know if they're separate trophies, but I'll just put one trophy in the trophy cabinet. In fact, when I looked at the playoff trophy and the league trophy, they more or less look the same, so I think they are the same. Anyways, looking at the goals, I also just remember one thing. We need to look up whether Real Madrid has won the Champions League in season number 1 or not. Let's go look at that right now. Okay, good news for us. The Champions League was won by Bayern Munich. I'm not gonna lie when I say this, I was actually initially thinking of doing this save in Germany rather than in Spain. So that would have added one to the tally. We were doing it in Germany, but we're doing it in Spain and we're comparing it with Real Madrid. Well, let's see, where did Real Madrid went up? They're not even in the semi-finals. Okay. Quarterfinals? Yeah, they went out in the quarterfinals. We begin season number 2 with a player departure. Ismail Escobar is off to Torres in the Serie C for 6.75 thousand. And yeah, but the only reason why I'm selling him, not because he's not that great as well, but because I am struggling with the registration of players for the league. That's definitely not my fault. I'm not the one that signed 10 players last season, okay? Don't look at me. As I mentioned in the previous clip, we are having some troubles, or specifically I am having some troubles to register players that I want to for the season. Hence, we're gonna sell on Diego Cabello here. He's a player that I initially did not want to sell, but because he's 31, he's up in age and he's sort of declining a little bit, I've decided to sell him on when he still has some value to him. And we have replacements for him anyway, so it's not too big of a concern. But I wish to have kept him around me for at least one more year. But off he goes to, I believe this is a Danish club. Shout out to those who saw my Danish save. He's off to Odense on a transfer fee of, I believe, 105,000. Okay, more players are going to leave the club. Honestly, these players they may be young players, but I can honestly find a player to replace them. No, I'm not just saying that because of a quote, okay? But Alex Zankos off for 20,000 to Sabadell, and also Hugo Padden. This one I'm a little bit more concerned about because I think he had a chance to be something special. Hugo Padden, 21-year-old winger. He's off to Eldense. So both these players are leaving the club because of our registration situation, and having these two players leave will definitely help out in that particular department. We are in the midst of season number 2. However, some sad transfer news is the departure of a player, Alba. He's been a good player in the midfield, and I gotta be honest, if I was being completely, honest with myself, this guy is probably the best player of the team for at least this particular season, second season, and he's just great. Unfortunately, he also has a release clause which was triggered by Fiorentina, and there was nothing I could do about it because the league regulations say I can't increase wage budget. Okay, so I had no choice. I had to just sit here and see my star player leave the club for 725,000, and there's nothing I can do about it. Season number 2 is officially over. We're gonna take a look at the league later and the Champions League as well. But first, the Copa del Rey, which we advanced to the second round, and we won in the second round. And in the third round, we went out to Alaves, so nothing really much to report there. Okay, but in a little bit of a concerning news, Real Madrid did win the Champions League this season over my Arsenal. This wouldn't have happened if Gyökeres was in the team. At least when the time I'm recording this, I don't think he hasn't actually signed yet, but he is very close. And so that's why the save does not reflect it. I tried to keep my save as up to date as possible. What the heck? Looking through Arsenal's side, they had at the bottom, you see they had Edin Dzeko at 40 in the team. What are you cooking for, Tata? Holy, what are you cooking? Well, it got you to the final Champions League. Unfortunately, didn't win, and unfortunately, we have to add one. We had to win at least one Champions League. To match Real Madrid. And yeah, with that said, let's take a look at the league this year, because let me tell you, you will not believe what you see. Ladies and gentlemen, did anyone ask for back-to-back promotions? Well, if you did, then this is for you. We got promoted in back-to-back seasons. We won the third division. We didn't win the second division, however we came in second, and in that spot we do get automatically promoted. Almeria at the start of the season looked like they were just coasting club the entire league, but then they sort of they sort of dropped at the second half, and so did we. I had a lot of injured players, and I didn't really have a lot of flexibility to replace them, because as I mentioned, the registration criteria for this league is terrible. And it's also because of that, I was thinking to myself, you know what? That 9 players that I bought like in season number 1, they came in handy this season, and they provided a lot of good playing power, whatever, for us this season. And we got up to the first division, we got up to the La Liga, which is good, because I don't think they have that registration rule over there. At least even if they have the salary cap, will be higher. My point being, when I saw that salary cap thing, I was like, okay, we have to get promoted by any means possible and as quick as possible. And it did happen in the first season that we are in the La Liga second division. Fingers crossed we don't drop back down there. So the goal for season number 3 is do not get relegated at any cost, just stay up. A massive congratulations to everyone that contributed, mainly the 9 players that I bought, or 7 players, I can't remember the exact amount. Special shout out goes to Trilly, who has been absolutely amazing for us. He played at right back, he played at right wing. Absolutely amazing player. Probably the player of the season, I would say. Okay, so that's all for season number 2. One more thing before we end off and we head to season number 3. Actually, 2 things I wanted to say. One, I didn't make any signing this season because I didn't know I was going to stay in the league, but now that I know we're in the La Liga, probably before the start of the season, I'll make some signings. The second thing I wanted to say is we're going to say goodbye to Willie at the end of the season, because he's retiring from football on the 26th of June. So he's been a good player for us in the first season. Second season, he didn't really do much. In fact, I didn't even had the opportunity to start him because of the registration rules. But anyways, thank you for your service, Willie. And yeah, off to season number 3 we go. Welcome to season number 3, where I gotta be honest, I'm trying to only sign players that are stars if they come in, and they'll be starting and they will be improving the squad by a whole lot. One of the players that fit the criteria is Andres Caro. He's a center back. Look at those stats. He comes in for only 6.25 million, which I think is really good value looking at his stats right here. He can come in be a rock at the back of the team, and we've got a really good defense overall. So I think that's where we're strongest. We still need to improve the front of our team, the attack. But yeah, Andres Caro coming into the club for 6.25 million. And just FYI as well, we have a $17 million budget this season, so that seems like a lot, but I am being very strategic with that amount. So we spent about 1/3 of it on a center back. The next signing we're bringing in is only for 1.3 million, which I think is also again good value. Apeo Puestamendia. I said we need to improve the attack. I'm bringing this 19-year-old winger. You might be thinking, okay, 1.3 19-year-old. What are you telling me here? Well, look at his stats. For a 19-year-old, this guy seems pretty decent. He's gonna go in there with the first team, and yeah, we'll see how he goes in the La Liga. So these are the two signings that I am making as of now. We still have about 8 to 7 million around there ish to spend. We brought some players into the club. Now some players leaving. David Roson leaving for 10,000. Okay, a few more small transfers. Javi Alonso, remember we brought him in on a free, I believe, in the first season. He's now off to Ponferradina for 100,000. And also Jorge Gonzalez, a 22-year-old winger. He was at the club since day one, I believe, and now he's off to Linares for 9.25 thousand just because he ain't that good for the La Liga. No offense. Another person that will be leaving the club is Xavier Saider. I probably butchered that name, but his stats are not that great. He's declining, and he's 19 years of age. I tried to, play him at. You can see he had 22 appearances for the club. I tried to play him, but he's not really growing as I expected. So he's gonna be leaving on a free transfer. Well, ever since this guy left, there was a kind of hole in the team and the midfield that couldn't be filled. So when the guy leaves to go to Fiorentina, and then you have that hole in your midfield and you're looking for someone to bring into the midfield, who do you bring in? That same guy that was here before. He was one of us, and now he will continue to be one of us because he's signing on back with Lugo. I don't know how to say his first name, but I'm just going to call him Alba. Alba coming in back here from Fiorentina. We sold him for, I think, like half of what we got him for. So I think we sold him for like 650. We're getting him back on 1.3 million, but I don't care. Welcome home. Okay, season number 3 is in the books. First, let's take a look at the Copa del Rey, which we did not win. Real Madrid won, and we didn't even come close. Getting knocked out in the first round to a team that I didn't even know existed until today. But that's not the main talking point of the video. The thing I want to talk about is the league. Now, where do I even begin with it? There's so many things to talk about that I don't know where to start. The reason why I'm showing this screen is because there are a lot of things that I want to mention. Firstly, the past positions down at the bottom here. You might be thinking, okay, looking at like the start of the season, we are finito, we are doomed, okay? We're going down and all that. But at the end, we pulled it through. I don't know how we managed to maintain a 6th position for like the last 10 weeks or so, but we did. And 6 is where we ended up after being promoted. You what, mate? You crazy? I mean, this is no. I mean, look at the stats. Look at where we are. I mean, greatest manager of all time. Eyebrow man, no. Baldy, no. Hey. All I'm saying is the proof is in the Football Manager 24. That's all I'm saying. Look at that. I mean, with the squad I have, do you think you expect me to get even 6? Ain't no way, brother. I think they somehow expected me to finish 21 in the league. If you actually look at the point tally, the first and second team, of course, Madrid and Barcelona, on 98 points. Third team, Villarreal, 69 points. Holy hell, there's like a 30-point gap, but I'm not complaining. I'm in a European competition. This is progression. I like to see it. Can I also point out as well that in one of our earliest games of the season in La Liga, in fact on our third game, we lost 7-1 to Barcelona at the Camp Nou, and the players were like absolutely demoralized. I said lock it, I know where the cable up, oh just lock it. And what happened? What did I say? I told you I know what I'm doing, alright? When I say I know what I'm doing, I'm not just pulling things out of my ass, okay? And even if I was, it was for a good purpose, okay? Okay, this is even better news. In the Champions League, the final hasn't been played yet, but Madrid is not in the final, so that's great. Real Madrid actually got knocked out in the semi-finals against Manchester City, which I believe they lost to City in the previous season as well. Not the previous one, the first season. Of course, we got to give the boys their flowers as well. I mean, you look at this team on paper, like just in general, just look at the valuation, look at the kind of stats overall. You don't think this looks like a team in 6th place in like La Liga. You don't think so at all, if you ask me. But the boys have managed to do a madness here. Shout out to players like Trilly, Andreas Caro, who we just recently bought, I believe last season or something like that. Yeah, he is coming in and he has done an absolute madness. Yeah, I don't know why he's not showing the transfer value, but okay, he's done an absolute madness. He's been wanted by clubs like Leipzig. We really need to hold on to him in some way, shape or form. And then also players like Cuesta Medina as well, who we brought in last season as well, or the start of the season. 1.3 million. He's valued at 8.2 million. Come on, I'm getting results, making money. What more do you need from me? There's nothing more you could ask from me. So yeah, my bad. Gutierrez as well. I don't know what has happened to this guy. I didn't take note of this guy before this season, but this season this guy balled out. He decided La Liga is my time to shine, and I'm great he did that. Although I almost forgot him, so maybe he didn't shine. Great performance overall. We'll try to bring in maybe 1 or 2 more star players next season, considering playing Europa League. And yeah, overall, extremely excited this season. If we can achieve the same level of success next season, I will be happy. Before we go into season number 4, just a reminder of our objectives, which is to match the amount of Champions League won by Real Madrid, which currently sits at 1 in this save. And speaking of 1, we have only won 1 trophy so far as well. You know what? Let's maybe try to improve, try to add to the trophy cabinet. Let's see if we can do that in the next season. Okay, season number 4 starts off with a massive signing to the club. Pau Prim is into the club from Osasuna. I wanted to get this guy in season number 1, however, he didn't want to sign on, maybe because he didn't believe the project or we didn't have the funds. I can't really remember, but he's coming to the club now on a transfer fee of 9.5 million. And a few days later, we get our second signing into the club here. A player that I was looking at, I didn't know, at that point in time, I didn't want him when I first looked at him, but after considering my options, I'd be like, you know what, we'll give this guy a chance. So I actually use this, well, I've actually coached the guy in the Leeds United save link somewhere on the video maybe. Yeah, so Mateo Joseph, he's from Leeds United, he's coming into Lugo here. I'm giving him the starting striker spot, so he's free to do whatever he wants with that. My hope is that he will succeed at that point, and he comes in at a relatively decent fee for my opinion. I think he can be a lot more worth it than 5 million, if that makes sense. That's all the signings I'm gonna make, because if you look at this sentence here, the last sentence, I literally have like $250,000 left in the transfer budget, which means I probably can't sign anyone else. Unfortunately, it's not all sunshine, rainbows and lollipops apparently, because someone has triggered the release clause of Trilly, our right back. So he is off to Marseille for 3.4 million. His value goes up to 7 million. Holy! Can I just say, by the way, I know that sounds like a terrible deal on my part, but if you look at the milestone, we brought him in on a free and I sold him for 3.4. That is 3.4 times the money I made. Actually, no, that's a lie, because 0 times 3.4 is still 0. You get what I mean. I made money on that, okay? So I see it as an absolute win. Okay, because of the right back departure, we have to bring in another right back to have someone start as a right back. However, we don't have that many funds, so we kind of brought in someone that I looked at and be like, you know what? Let's give him the keys to the right back role. Let's see whether he can perform. So it's a guy, Pau Navarro. He is in Villarreal B, which is a bit, not say dodgy, but a bit interesting that I'm giving this player who's at Villarreal B a starting right back role at a team playing in the Europa League, which is crazy. But you know what? I'm here to give people chances this season, okay? I'm not this mean guy that everyone paints out to me like that bloody fraud from Portugal. Anyways, yeah, I'm willing to give him the starting role. We'll see how he performs this season. If it's not that great, I'm sorry, but if he performs, better than I expect, all I'm gonna say is, generational. And we got another player departure here. Marcos Laven is leaving the club because, yeah, as a backup, he doesn't really cut it for the La Liga. So I think it might just be time to go out and get a better backup keeper, or maybe a better starting keeper, who knows. This departure is a little bit sad in my opinion because it is for Nathaniel Nicholas. He was at the club originally an OG, I believe since day one he was at the club. Unfortunately, the squad has really passed him by, and yeah, he doesn't cut it anymore, not even as a backup or reserve player. So it's time for him to go. He's going off to Numancia, I believe, for 75,000. Thank you for all of the Nathaniel Nicholas. At least he gets to experience the La Liga for one season at least. Alright, listen, yeah. The squad, well, they're losing the faith in me once again at the start of the season because we don't have a good enough quality depth for the squad. So I said, okay, let me sort you out here. Broden Will Smallwood. I don't know why I'm laughing. Okay, this is very serious. Very, very serious. Will Smallwood. I previously only tried to sign Spanish players, and usually I try to sign players from the country where the safe is in, i.e. in this safe, for example, it's Spain, but I just can't find any Spanish quality depth that I can get on a free transfer. But Will Smallwood, he's 27 years of age, and he comes in on a free transfer for us at the midfield spot. So I'm hoping this is enough quality depth that the squad is looking for. Fingers crossed. And if that is not enough, we also brought in Ellery Balcombe here. He's a backup keeper. He used to be of Brentford, but he didn't actually get any appeals from Brentford now that I'm looking about it. But he'll be brought in as our new backup keeper. Okay, we are in the mid-season of season number 4, and we're still sort of struggling with the goalkeeper spot. I'm not really finding a good backup keeper. We did sign Balcombe early in the season as a backup, but I want someone who is going to be a dedicated backup at least for like 3-4 seasons. I feel like Balcombe will only have one more season left in him. So we brought this guy on a free, Mario De Luis. I think he's a backup keeper at Napoli. I'm not entirely sure. He's coming in on a free transfer as well as a backup to our current keeper. And on top of that, just in case that transfer fails, we bring in another keeper. This time we're paying money for this guy, Raul Jimenez. You can see we don't have enough money, as I mentioned, which is why they are shifting kind of the budget to accommodate this transfer. But Raul Jimenez come in here, 20 years old goalkeeper. He doesn't look that great for 2.6 million if I'm being honest, but I am willing, maybe I'm too nice in this save, I could be wrong. I'm willing to give him a chance. Okay, I'm willing to give you a chance because I'm not gonna lie, in this save I have given a lot of player chances and most of the time they've not performed well. But maybe this might be the one. Please Raul Jimenez, do something, please, at the goalkeeper spot. Unfortunately, we have been hit by some bad news here, and this is a transfer that I can do nothing about. For some reason, I realized whenever you're in Spain, you need to set like a release clause for every player. I'm not sure why that is the case. Anyways, Andreas Caro here, he had a transfer. He had a release clause of 17.25 million, and that was triggered by Bayern Munich. I tried to get him to resign. He didn't want to resign because he felt that our squad was not to standard, I guess. So he is off to Bayern Munich, whether I like it or not, for 17.25. And I looked at how much we brought him in for. We brought him in for 6.25 million. We like tripled that. We made a lot of money back for him, and I'm glad for a lot of money made, but he was literally our star at the back. Now I have to use that money to go find someone else. So that is not ideal, I'm not gonna lie. This has thrown my plans into a little thrown my plans up for a loop a little bit. I don't know what I'm gonna do for this point onward. Okay, and we brought in the replacement, not the glitz and glamour signing as it looks like, because you might see 3.4 million and be like, okay, brothers worth like more than 10 million, you're replacing with someone that's 3.4. I'll tell you, I know techers, okay? Juan Rodriguez, 25 years of age. I mean, looking at his stats, I think that's a pretty good value in my opinion that we got there, for 3.4 million. He's gonna come in the club, and I'm gonna prove to y'all why he's actually a decent replacement. Welcome, Juan Rodriguez. Prove the doubters wrong. Right, not any transfer news, but this is crazy. I was so confused with this message, because if you read it properly, it says, I had a chat with Juan Rodriguez earlier today, and the place where that Juan Rodriguez had been signed to replace him. I was like, holy, I was like, what is going on here? Then I realized, I clicked Juan Rodriguez. This is a guy that was also called Juan Rodriguez, who is still at the club. He's 32 years of age. He's a day one player at the club, still at the club. I was like, oh yeah, we signed the player. He's also called Juan Rodriguez. Okay, so that is a little bit bizarre. So we are now over the transfer window, but towards the end of the season, we are selling John Cabero here. Reason being is, one, he asked for more playtime, and I just simply refused to give him more playtime because he's not that great. He's slowly declining. He's 31 years of age. I say, you know what, just sell him off for whatever we can and get someone better in to replace him if we need that replacement. So John Cabero is off to Real Murcia. I don't know how you say it, okay, I'm sorry. Throughout this whole entire season, you might have seen by the transfers, we have gone many strikers, although none of them are of like the highest quality. And if we're looking to continue playing European competition every season, we need an absolute unit at the front. And that's what I'm hoping this guy will be. John Duran, he is finished with his Saudi excursion at Al Nassr here. 68 appearances, 36 goals is pretty good, but he's coming back to Europe. He is signing with us. He is signing with Lugo. I brought him in. I said, you know what? Come be our main man up front. He comes in on, you listen to this, on a free transfer. This is the signing, and I'm really excited about, and I'm fingers crossed he will be the answer to our striker problems. Welcome to the club, John Duran. Let's make an impact. We are at the end of season number 4, so as always, let's take a look at how we done over the season, starting with, as always, Copa del Rey, which we were not even at the finals. It was won by Real Madrid. We actually made it quite far in this competition from what I remember. I think we went out, in the quarterfinal. We lost to Barcelona. Before we take a look at the other competition, let's switch things up a little bit. Let's take a look at the Champions League. Even though we're not in it, we obviously have to check how Real Madrid did. And good news is they are not in the final, which means the amount of times Madrid actually won the Champions League in this save still stays at 1, which actually is quite important, because if we look at the league, there is a possibility, it's a small one if you ask me, but there is a possibility we could complete the challenge in the next season, because we are confirmed to be in the Champions League, finishing 3rd, which has surpassed all my expectations. I know I said this last season as well, but this is really good from us. We are literally like the best of the rest of the La Liga, because I mean, if you look at Madrid and Barcelona, I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect to catch them at all. So I was like, anything, if we can get that 4th spot, I will be very happy. But we got one better. We actually got 3rd spot, and we are locked in to play the Champions League next season. But We actually did have some European competition this season. We are in the Europa League. How did we go in that? So in the league phase, we absolutely demolished the league phase. I don't even know how that happened, but we demolished it. 8 wins. We wiped the floor with the league phase, which means we get to skip to the round of 16 where we defeated Rangers 8-4 on aggregate in the round of 16. Quarterfinals, we barely got past Bournemouth. However, semi-final is where we met our match. We actually won the first leg 2-1 against Brighton, but then we lost 2-0 in the second leg, which is a little bit annoying, but I can't say I'm like sad with the season. I'm happy considering how the season went in terms of transfers. I think this season really knocked it out the water, but next season is where we need to really lock it. I want Champions League worthy signings, and that's all I'm looking for next season. But speaking of next season, before we get there, let's take a look at the players. Okay, this is the squad at the end of season number 4. The bright spots are shining through the squad a little bit. Mateo Joseph, I brought him in. He's making that striker spot on his own, which I'm glad to see. Alvaro Leiva as well, one of my first few signings. I think he came in like at the end of the first season or something like that. I'm glad to see him getting the spotlight that he deserves. Also, shout out to Santiago Migueles here, or not Santiago, Santi Migueles. He has 21 goals all this season, so he may not be that great, but I thought it would be great to shout him out as well. And of course, one person that I definitely need to shout out here, Cuesta Mendia. Again, this person I discovered on an absolute random, kind of just browsing through the teams in the league. I'm absolutely grateful for finding this guy because holy hell, he's improving. He's doing bits for the team. And I'm not done there. Shout out to Will Smallwood and so who brought in on a free transfer, and he's doing absolute madness in the midfield. Shout out to him. Paul Prim as well, coming into his own here. You can see he's wanted by Lille. Fingers crossed we can keep him. But yeah, overall very good season. Even the keeper, actually shout out to Raul Jimenez. So I brought him on a, I don't know, I just brought him in because I thought he would be a good young backup. But he's actually really good. He might become our new starting keeper for all I know. We'll have to see, and we'll have to see how this situation develops. But yeah, the keeper situation is really something that I had to figure out at the start of the season or right now. But yeah, overall very good season number 4. Okay, we are starting off season number 5 here with a big signing here. We have 30 millions and I intend to use all of that money wisely. Our first signing coming into the club for 15 million here is for Joel Roca from Girona. He's a 23-year-old winger, so at this stage doesn't look like anything too great. But if you look at the stats, pretty decent stats overall. Okay, you might say, I understand why you're signing the guy, but my intention is if you look at the play area and where on the pitch he can play left wing, he can play right wing, he can play center mid if he really wants to. A lot of depth coverage for the guy really will strengthen our attack and also our midfield if we need to do so. So I think it's a really good signing overall. So very quickly here, he was brought into the club last season and he's going this season. Elri Valkov, I literally only brought him in as a backup, and now that we have our keeper situation sort of sorted out, it's time for him to go. He goes out to Steven H for 95,000. Apart from that, we are also bringing in a new center back signing here. He's deemed as a 26-year-old late developer, which I feel like that's a little bit of an insult. He's only 26, it's not like he's 36 or something. But anyways, Alvaro Carrillo here, main center back by default, but he can play left on the right and the right. Really good cover. So he's coming in from Cadiz for a big amount, 14 million we actually signed him for. And so I probably mentioned in the last season how John Duran was a buyer for us, and he's continuing to be on fire, so much so that unfortunately he has been sold because of his release clause, which has been activated by another Saudi club, Al Ittihad. So he's going back to Saudi. I think, was he from Al Ittihad? I can't remember. No, he was from Al Nassr. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so he's going back to another Saudi club for 40 million. just to remind you, by the way, we got this guy on a free. We signed him on a free, and now we're paid 40 million to let him go. I'm saying, money maker in it, money maker. I know I'm doing okay. We're losing a big boy here, but I have one player in my back pocket I can sign here. He's not as great as John Duran, but you know, he leaving for 40 million is going to give us great money to spend elsewhere as well. So John Duran, really appreciate your service, but it's time to go. Okay, I said I have a replacement, and here it is. Mark Guiu. I still don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's sort of been floundering in this save. He's currently at Brentford. He was at, of course, Chelsea. Then he moved to Lyon. Then he moved to Southampton. Then he moved to Brentford. And his career has not really been taking off. He's been starting games, but not really performing in front of goals. So maybe he needs a move. He needs to move back to his country of origin, Spain. Maybe Lugo is what he needs. So I'm bringing him in on a fee, which is quite high according to his performance. I brought him in on 13 million, and let's see whether he can be a good backup striker. Well, not really good backup, but let's see whether he can fill in the shoes that were occupied by John Duran. Mark Guiu, welcome back to Spain, and yeah, let's see whether this move will help revitalize your career. Okay, we got a very crazy departure here, because this guy Mario De Luis, I signed him as a backup keeper on a free here, and the funny thing is, if you look at the right here, his career stats, he only made one appearance and conceded 3 goals. And I was trying to get him off for some money here, and I managed to sell him for 1.5 million. Guess where he decided to go for 1.5 million? I bet you could never guess. Actually, on those screens there were hints, but if you didn't already know, he's apparently signing for Barcelona for 1.5 million. I don't know why Barcelona needs this guy. I personally don't have use for him because I already have 2 keepers that are better. But the good thing is we got him on a free transfer for Napoli, and we are selling him for some money. So that is profit. That's all I care about. Mario Lewis, thank you for playing that one game, but off you go. Okay, we have to make an emergency signing here. More about this maybe later on in the save, but Joe Da Silva, he is signing on for us. He's a 29-year-old winger, but we have signed him on a free transfer. He's pretty decent, and he was wanted by many clubs, so as you can see, pretty good stats. And there's a reason why I wanted him. You might see why later, you might not see why later. I'll probably explain it, but yeah, he's coming to the club on a free transfer. Okay, season number 5 has come to an end here, and there is some exciting things that I would like to tell you about. But first, Copa del Rey action, where we were in the final actually. So this is the furthest we have made it, but we lost to Barcelona in the finals. We were also in the Super Copa, but I honestly didn't really care about that competition, to be honest. So I just got knocked out in the semi-final, and the next round, the final, Madrid won. Okay, but the 2 biggest competitions are to come. Firstly, the La Liga. We finished 3rd again, which is great, but this time I think what's better is that we are actually very close to Barcelona here, which is the 2nd team, which is good because if you remember the previous season, we had such a big gap from the top 2 teams. Now the gap is closer, and yeah, that is great news. But last but not least, let's take a look at our first attempt in the Champions League, and trust me, you will want to see this. Actually, before that, we're going to take a look at the squad here. Now, I did sign this Jota Silva guy, and I said that I'll let you know why I signed him. Well, because we were doing very well in the Champions League, and I didn't want my players to get, especially my forwards, to get injured, because we were doing so well, and I want my best foot forward, my best strikers forward, my best attacking players forward, and so that they don't get injured, I brought another player just sort of as a backup. He's for free, by the way, and he's valued at 45 million. Can I just say, you know, you can't say I don't know anything anymore. But yeah, you want to know how good we did in the Champions League? Well, you're going to find out right now. Actually, you know what, before we find out how good we did in the Champions League, let's take a look at the squad page since we're here. You can see the valuation of, like, in general of the players. Look at how much it has changed compared to like the first or even the 2nd season or even the 3rd season, you know. It has changed so much. Shout out to where is he? Shout out to Mateo Joseph, who's been doing an absolute madness. Weston Madi as well. I'm still shocked that I just came across him by accident. Joel Roca as well. All our forwards have just been doing great. Special shout out to San Martin, who's still here. I think I bought him in like the first season. I'm not sure if it's the first signing, but I definitely can remember buying him in the first season. And shout out, he's still here on a free transfer as well. And he's still here doing the business. What a goat, San Martin. Also, Raul Jimenez as well has been doing an absolute madness. 8.8 million at a 22-year-old. Brother, hidden gem found. That's all I'm gonna say. We are doing a lot of the good business a lot across the park, but let's take a look at how we did in the Champions League. Yes, you are saying things correctly. We have won the Champions League, and that means we have only won 2 trophies. The what is that? What trophy is that? Is that the trophy for the 3rd division? I can't remember. I think it's the 3rd division trophy. We didn't win the La Liga or the 2nd division of La Liga, the 2nd division of Spanish football, or the 1st division. We only won the 3rd division and then won the Champions League. How sick is that? Anyways, yeah, so we matched Real Madrid and the amount of Champions League they have in this save. So that's what I'll call the end of the save. Actually, before we end the video, let's take a look at how we went. We actually came in 11th in the league phase, so we didn't do too well there. Real Madrid actually came in 1st, which is surprising. And then if you look at the knockout playoff round, we were in that where we beat Chelsea 5-3. Round of 16, we beat Man City 3-2. When this happened, I was like, okay, there might be a chance here. You know, there might be a chance. And surprisingly, Madrid lost to Monaco. I'll be like, okay, we might be in for some slight chance here. So my mindset will change. And then when we beat Barcelona, when we beat them in both legs, might I add, actually no, we didn't beat them the first leg, we drew. But I was like, okay, now we really have to go all in. That's when I brought in Jota Silva, I think. Yeah, that's when I brought him in, I believe. So yeah, and then in the semis, we barely edged past Liverpool, and in the final, we barely edged past Arsenal. But hey, a win is a win. So yeah, this is just so shocking that we won the Champions League. We'll end the video there because the goal is to match the amount of Champions League won by Real Madrid, which is 1. And we've done that. So that is it for the save. Thank you all so much. I don't know how long this video will be. I think it will be very long because I have a lot of clips that I can see here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this longer video. Until next one, if you have any ideas, leave it down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoy the content. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye everyone.